It started with a casual glance at the dresser. I'd been looking for my cufflinks, nothing special, just the pair I wore to work dinners, when I noticed the small, velvet box wasn't in its usual spot. That box had been a fixture in our bedroom for years, tucked beside her jewelry case, holding the engagement ring my grandmother wore for 62 years. It wasn't flashy, rose gold, a modest emerald flanked by 2 tiny diamonds. But it was ours, a family heirloom I'd given Sarah when I proposed. She'd loved it, or so I thought. "Sarah," I called, my voice steady but curious. She was in the kitchen, humming over a pot of risotto. "Where's the ring?" Her humming stopped. A beat of silence stretched too long. "What ring?" she said finally, not turning around. "The ring. My grandmother's ring. It's not on the dresser." She stirred the pot, her shoulders stiffening. "Oh, that. I must have moved it. I'll find it later." Her tone was off, too light, too dismissive. I walked into the kitchen, leaning against the counter. "Moved it where?" She sighed, still avoiding my eyes. "I don't know, Ben. Can we talk about this after dinner?" "No," I said, sharper than I meant. "It's not just some trinkets, Sarah. It's been in my family for generations." "Where is it?" She turned then, her face a mix of guilt and defiance. "Okay, fine. I sold it." The words hit like a punch. "You sold it?" "It's just a ring, Ben. We needed the money, and Needed the money?" I cut in, incredulous. "We weren't rich, but we weren't struggling. I'd just gotten a raise at the firm, and she'd been picking up freelance graphic design gigs." "For what?" She hesitated, then gestured vaguely toward the living room. "Stuff. Things we deserve." I followed her gaze. That's when I saw it. A sleek, white handbag on the couch. Designer. Probably cost more than our rent. Next to it, a box with a logo I recognized, some overpriced shoe brand she'd been drooling over online. My stomach twisted. "You sold my grandmother's ring for luxury crap?" My voice cracked. "That ring was irreplaceable." "It's not crap," she snapped, her eyes flashing. "I work hard too, Ben. I deserve nice things. You're always so stuck on the past. Maybe I wanted something for me." I stared at her, the woman I'd married 5 years ago, and felt like I was looking at a stranger. The kitchen felt like a battlefield after Sarah's admission. The risotto bubbled on the stove, forgotten, as the air between us thickened with unspoken accusations. I couldn't tear my eyes off the handbag. Its glossy leather seemed to mock me, a symbol of everything I hadn't seen coming. My mind raced, replaying her words. I deserve nice things. But at what cost? "Sarah," I said, forcing my voice to stay level, "that ring wasn't yours to sell. It was a promise, my family's history. How could you just pawn it off?" She crossed her arms, her jaw tight. "Don't lecture me like I'm some kid, Ben. You act like that ring was sacred, but it's just an old piece of jewelry. It sat in a box for years. I turned it into something useful, something that makes me happy. Why is that so terrible?" "Useful?" I gestured at the handbag, my voice rising despite myself. "That's not useful. That's vanity. You didn't even talk to me about it. You went behind my back. Because I knew you'd say no." She shot back, stepping closer. "You're so obsessed with tradition, you can't see what I need. I'm tired of pinching pennies, of waiting for someday to live a little. That ring was just sitting there, collecting dust, while I've been staring at the same cracked phone screen for 2 years." I blinked, thrown by the shift. "Your phone? You could have asked me. We'd have figured it out. This isn't about necessity. It's about you wanting to flaunt some Instagram perfect life." Her face flushed, and for a moment, I thought she'd yell again. Instead, she turned away, grabbing a spoon to stir the risotto like it was her lifeline. "You don't get it," she muttered. "You never have." "Explain it, then," I said, my chest tight. Because right now, I'm trying to understand how my wife could sell something that meant so much to me without a word. She didn't answer right away. The spoon scraped the pot, a harsh, rhythmic sound. When she finally spoke, her voice was quieter, almost resigned. "I sold it online. A collector bought it for $8,000. I used the money for the bag, the shoes, and a spa day. It's gone, Ben. Done. $8,000. My grandmother's ring, her quiet strength, her love story with my grandfather, reduced to a number. I felt sick. Who was the buyer? I asked, grasping for something, anything, to undo this. Some guy on a jewelry forum. I don't remember his name. She glanced at me, wary now. Why? Because I'm getting it back, I said, the decision hardening in me. I don't care what it takes. Her eyes widened. You're serious? It's gone, Ben. Let it go. But I couldn't. That ring was more than metal and stone. It was my roots, my promise to her, to us. And now it was in some stranger's hands, traded for a handbag she'd tire of in a month. I turned and walked out of the kitchen, my mind already spinning. I'd find it. I had to. I didn't sleep that night. The guest room couch was lumpy, but it wasn't the springs keeping me awake. It was the image of that ring, my grandmother's ring, slipping out of our lives like sand through my fingers. $8,000. A spa day. A handbag. The math didn't even matter. The betrayal did. By 5 a.m., I was at my laptop, coffee cooling beside me, scouring jewelry forums for any trace of the sale. Sarah had been vague, too vague, about the buyer. Some guy on a forum, she'd said, like that was enough. I knew her habits, though. She wasn't tech-savvy enough to cover her tracks. I logged into our shared desktop, her browser history still synced from her phone. There it was, vintagegemhaven.com. A niche site for collectors, buzzing with posts about estate sales and rare finds. I skimmed threads titled, Art Deco Emerald Ring, Mint Condition, in Rose Gold Heirloom Score, my pulse quickening. One post, dated 2 weeks ago, had a blurry photo that stopped me cold, a familiar emerald glinting under a lamp. The username was EmeraldSeeker92. That had to be him. The post was locked, no replies allowed, but the site had a messaging system. I created an account, fingers trembling as I typed. I'm interested in the rose gold emerald ring you bought recently. Is it still available? Willing to pay above market. I hit send, then sat back, staring at the screen like it might answer me right then. Downstairs, Sarah was awake, clattering dishes in the kitchen. I didn't want to face her, but avoidance wasn't an option. When I walked in, she was scrubbing a pan, her movements sharp and angry. You didn't come to bed, she said, not looking up. I needed space, I replied, keeping my tone flat. I'm trying to fix this. She dropped the sponge, turning to me with wet hands dripping on the floor. Fix what, Ben? It's done. You're chasing a ghost. It's not a ghost. It's my family, I said, heat creeping into my voice. You didn't just sell a ring. You sold a piece of me. And you didn't even ask. Her eyes softened for a split second, then hardened again. You think I wanted to hurt you? I was suffocating, Ben. We've been stuck in this same routine, bills, work, no fun. I saw a chance to breathe, and I took it. By stabbing me in the back? I shot back. You could have talked to me. We could have found a way. She laughed, bitter and short. When? You're always at the firm, or reminiscing about your perfect grandparents. I'm here too, you know. I wanted to argue, but the words stuck. She wasn't entirely wrong. I've been distracted lately, buried in deadlines. Still, that didn't justify this. I'm getting it back, I said again, quieter but firm. Good luck, she muttered, turning back to the sink. You'll just waste more time. Maybe she was right. Maybe the ring was gone forever. But as I climbed the stairs to check my inbox, a ping sounded. A reply from EmeraldSeeker92. Still have it. $10,000, firm. Meet in person only. My heart leapt. It wasn't over yet. Here's part 4 of the story, with over 400 words as requested. The tension escalates as Ben takes a risky step forward, and Sarah's actions reveal more layers to the conflict. Here we go. Part 4. The deal. The message from EmeraldSeeker92 glowed on my screen like a lifeline. $10K, firm. Meet in person only. $10,000, $2,000 more than Sarah had sold it for, and a chunk of our savings. I didn't care. I'd have paid double to undo this mess. The reply included a location, a coffee shop an hour's drive away, tomorrow at noon. No name, no details, just a time and place. It felt shady, but I was past hesitation. I didn't tell Sarah. She'd call me crazy, or worse, try to stop me. Instead, I spent the morning at the bank, withdrawing the cash in crisp hundreds, the teller eyeing me like I was about to rob the place myself. Back home, Sarah was out, probably at some boutique, flaunting her new shoes. I left a vague note, running errands. Back later. The less she knew, the better. The drive was a blur of nerves and second guesses. What if this guy didn't show? What if he'd already sold it? By the time I pulled into the parking lot of Brew and Bean, a rundown spot off the highway, my palms were slick. I scanned the room, half empty, smelling of burnt coffee, and spotted him. He had to be EmeraldSeeker92, mid-40s, wiry, with a baseball cap pulled low and a nervous twitch in his fingers. A velvet pouch sat on the table in front of him. You the guy? He asked as I approached, his voice rough. Yeah, I said, sliding into the booth. You've got the ring? He nudged the pouch toward me. I opened it, and there it was, my grandmother's ring, unchanged, the emerald catching the dim light. Relief flooded me, sharp and sweet. 10 grand, right? I slid the envelope across the table. He counted it quickly, then nodded. Pleasure doing business. He stood to leave, but I grabbed his arm. Wait, where'd you get it? I needed to know how it had slipped away so easily. Some chick online, he said, shrugging me off. Desperate to sell. Said she needed cash fast. Didn't ask questions. I let him go, the ring heavy in my hand. Desperate? Sarah hadn't seemed desperate, just reckless. Or had I missed something? Back home, I walked into chaos. Boxes littered the living room, more luxury deliveries. A silk scarf, a gold bracelet, a perfume bottle that probably cost a mortgage payment. Sarah emerged from the bedroom, her face paling when she saw me. You're back, she said, eyeing the pouch. Did you? Yeah, I said, holding it up. I got it back. 10 grand. Her mouth tightened. You're insane. We can't afford that. I laughed, harsh and hollow. You mean me? You've been spending like a millionaire while I'm cleaning up your mess. She flinched, then pointed at the boxes. This isn't just me, Ben. It's us. I wanted us to have something better. Better. I tossed the ring onto the coffee table between us. This was better. And you threw it away. The ring sat on the coffee table, a silent judge between us. Sarah stared at it, her expression a tangle of anger and something softer, regret. Maybe, though she'd never admit it. The living room felt smaller with all her new purchases crowding the space, a velvet throw pillow, a crystal decanter, a sleek smartwatch still in its box. Each item was a stab at me, proof she'd been spending while I'd been chasing the past. You think I threw it away, she said finally, her voice low. But I didn't. I traded it for something I thought we needed, a life. Ben. Not just memories. A life. I gestured at the clutter. This isn't a life. It's a shopping spree. You spent 8 grand from the ring, and now what, more credit card debt? How deep are we in? She crossed her arms, defensive. It's not debt. I've been managing. Managing how? I pressed, suspicion prickling. She'd been cagey about money lately, brushing off my questions about bills. Sarah, what aren't you telling me? Her silence was answer enough. I grabbed my phone, pulling up our joint account. The balance hit me like a brick, $3,214. Last month, we'd had over 12 grand saved. Where's the rest? I demanded, holding up the screen. She hesitated, then sighed. I invested it. Invested? I almost laughed. In what? Gucci. No, she snapped, her eyes flashing. In a business. My friend Tara, she's starting a boutique. I put in 10 grand for a stake. It's going to pay off, Ben. I just needed a little extra for appearances. Appearances, I echoed, numb. You sold my grandmother's ring and drained our savings for a boutique? Without telling me. It's not like that, she said, stepping closer. I wanted to surprise you, to show you I could build something too. You're always the one with the stable job, the family legacy. I needed this. I stared at her, the woman I'd vowed to share everything with, and felt the ground shift. You didn't need this. You needed to talk to me. We're supposed to be partners. We were, she said, her voice breaking. But you're so tied to that ring, to your past, I didn't know how to fit in anymore. Then why not say that? I shot back. Instead, you lied. You hid it all. She didn't answer, just sank onto the couch, burying her face in her hands. I wanted to comfort her. 5 years of marriage didn't vanish in a fight, but the betrayal stung too deep. Then my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Heard you got the ring back. Tell your wife to stop messaging me about it. I froze. Sarah had been in touch with Emerald Seeker 92? What the hell is this? I asked, holding up the phone. Her head jerked up, eyes wide. I tried to get it back too. Before you did. The text on my phone burned into me. Tell your wife to stop messaging me about it. Sarah's face drained of color as I held it up, her hands trembling slightly where they rested on her lap. The room was suffocating, the air thick with her perfume and the weight of her words, or lack of them. She tried to get the ring back? When? Why hadn't she told me? Explain, I said, my voice tight. Now. She swallowed hard, avoiding my gaze. I panicked. Okay. After I sold it, I realized how much it meant to you. I messaged the buyer a few days later, begging him to sell it back. Offered him 9 grand. He said no, said he'd already promised it to someone else. Promised it to someone else? I repeated, my mind spinning. Then how did I get it? I don't know, she said, throwing her hands up. Maybe he lied to me. Maybe he saw you coming with more cash. I stopped messaging him after he blocked me. I scrolled through my phone, checking the timeline. Her story fit, barely. The sale was 2 weeks ago. My meeting with Emerald Seeker 92 was yesterday. But the Gap's not at me. Why didn't you tell me you were trying to fix it? I asked, softer now, though the anger still simmered. Because I was ashamed, she admitted, her voice cracking. I messed up, Ben. I thought I could handle it, sell the ring, invest in Tara's boutique, live a little, then get it back before you noticed. But it spiraled. I didn't want you to see me fail. Fail? I echoed, stepping closer. Sarah, failing would have been losing the ring forever. Hiding this from me, that's what hurts. You didn't trust me enough to come clean. She looked up, tears brimming. I didn't trust myself. I wanted to be more than the wife who just exists next to you. I wanted to prove I could do something big. I sank into the chair across from her, the ring still on the table between us. Part of me ached for her. She'd always been ambitious, sketching designs late at night, dreaming of her own brand. But this was reckless, selfish. So what now? I asked. You've sunk our savings into this boutique. The ring's back, but we're broke. It's not sunk, she said quickly. Tara's projecting profit in 6 months. I can show you the plan now. Stop, I cut in, rubbing my temples. I don't care about projections. I care about us. Can we even fix this? She hesitated, then reached for my hand. I didn't pull away, but I didn't hold on either. I'll make it right, she whispered. I swear. Before I could respond, my phone buzzed again. Another text from the unknown number. Check your wife's email. She's not telling you everything. My stomach dropped. I looked at Sarah, her eyes wide with confusion or fear. What's in your email, Sarah? I asked, my voice cold. Sarah's face went slack as I read the text aloud. Check your wife's email. She's not telling you everything. The phone felt like a live wire in my hand, crackling with the promise of more betrayal. She reached for it, but I pulled back, standing up from the chair. The ring glinted on the coffee table, a mute witness to whatever was about to unravel. Ben, don't, she said, her voice shaky. It's nothing. Probably some troll messing with us. Then let me see, I replied, already moving toward the stairs. Our shared desktop was still in the guest room, her email likely open from last night. She scrambled after me, her footsteps loud on the hardwood. Stop it, Ben. You're overreacting, she shouted, but the edge in her tone only fueled me. I wasn't overreacting. I was done being in the dark. I sat at the desk, waking the screen. Her inbox loaded, a mess of unread messages, clothing store promos, freelance invoices, and there, buried in the clutter, a thread titled, Ring Deal. The sender's name was hidden behind a string of numbers, but the preview showed, confirmed, $12,000 wired. Don't contact again. My blood ran cold. What's this? I asked, clicking it open. Sarah hovered behind me, silent now. The email was short. Payment received. Ring stays with me unless you match the new offer. Stop harassing me. Dated 3 days ago, after she'd claimed the buyer blocked her. You told me you offered $9 grand, I said, turning to her. This says 12. And wired? From where? She bit her lip, tears spilling over. I didn't want you to know. I took it from the boutique fund, Tara's money. I thought I could get the ring back and fix everything before she noticed. Fix everything? I stood, towering over her. You stole from your friend? Our savings weren't enough? Who else are you lying to, Sarah? No one. She cried, grabbing my arm. I swear, it was just Tara. I was desperate. I saw how hurt you were, and I couldn't live with it. But then you got the ring, and I thought it was over. Over. I yanked free, pointing at the screen. This guy's got 12 grand of our money, or Tara's, and he's pissed. Did he sell it to me anyway? Or is there another twist you're hiding? I don't know, she sobbed. I wired the money, he stopped replying, and then you came home with it. I thought maybe you took both payments. I stared at her, this stranger in my wife's skin. We're calling Tara, I said, grabbing my phone. And then we're figuring out who this bastard is. No more secrets. She nodded, defeated, as I dialed. But deep down, I wondered if the ring was the least of what I'd lost. The phone rang twice before Tara picked up, her voice bright and oblivious. Ben. Hey, stranger. What's up? I glanced at Sarah, slumped on the guest room bed, her face streaked with tears. She mouthed please, but I ignored it, putting the call on speaker. Tara, it's about the boutique, I said, keeping my tone even. Sarah told me she invested our savings 10 grand. That true? A pause. Yeah, she did. Tara replied, hesitant now. We're partners. Why? Did she take 12,000 back out? I asked, watching Sarah flinch. She wired it to some guy for a ring she sold, said it was from your fund. Silence stretched, thick and damning. Then Tara's voice sharpened. What? No. She put in 10, and it's all accounted for, legal fees, inventory, rent. I'd know if 12 grand went missing. Sarah, what's he talking about? Sarah's head snapped up, panic flaring. I didn't take it from you, Tara. I swear. It was a loan. From somewhere else. Somewhere else. I cut in, my patience fraying. Where, Sarah? We're broke. You said it was Tara's money. It was a credit line, she blurted, hands twisting in her lap. I opened it last month, in my name. 12 grand, maxed out. I didn't want you to know. I thought I'd pay it off when the boutique took off. Tara's scoff crackled through the speaker. A credit line? Sarah, you told me the 10 was cash, no strings. What the hell's going on? I'm sorry, Sarah whispered, barely audible. I got in over my head. The ring, the boutique. I thought I could juggle it. Juggling doesn't include lying to me, or Ben, Tara snapped. You're out. I'll return your 10 grand when I can, but this partnership's done. Tara, wait, Sarah started, but the line went dead. She stared at the phone, then at me, pleading. Ben, I'll fix it. I'll get a job, pay off the credit line. Stop, I said, my voice cold. You've been lying for weeks, maybe months. The ring's back, but now we're in debt, and you've torched your friendship. What else don't I know? Nothing, she insisted, standing now. I swear, that's it. I was stupid, okay? I wanted to be someone you'd be proud of. I was proud, I said, the words heavy. Until this. She reached for me, but I stepped back. I need time, I told her, grabbing the ring from the desk. I'm staying at my brother's tonight. Then, please, she called, but I was already halfway down the stairs. The ring felt like a weight in my pocket, a reminder of what we'd had and what might be gone for good. Here's part 9 of the story, with over 400 words as requested. Ben seeks refuge and perspective, while a surprising discovery forces him to reconsider everything. Here we go. Part 9. A Brother's Counsel. The drive to my brother Jake's place was a haze of headlights and regret. The ring rattled in my pocket, a constant nudge against my thigh as I gripped the steering wheel. Sarah's tear-streaked face lingered in my mind, her pleas echoing. I'll fix it, Ben. But how do you fix a trust shredded beyond recognition? By the time I pulled into Jake's driveway, the clock read 9:47 p.m., and my head was a mess. Jake opened the door before I could knock, beer in hand, his lopsided grin fading when he saw my face. You look like hell, he said, stepping aside. What's Sarah done now? I collapsed onto his couch, spilling the whole story. The ring, the luxury binge, the boutique lie, the secret credit line. Jake listened, sipping his beer, his brow furrowing deeper with each twist. When I finished, he whistled low. She's got guts, I'll give her that. Stupid guts, but guts. She's got debt, I corrected, rubbing my eyes. And I've got a marriage I don't recognize. What do I do, Jake? I love her, or I did. Now I don't know. He leaned back, studying me. You got the ring back. That's what you wanted, right? So what's the real problem, her spinning or her lying? Both, I said, pulling the ring out. It caught the lamplight, the emerald winking like it held secrets of its own. She didn't just sell it, she erased me from the decision. 5 years, and she couldn't talk to me. Jake nodded, setting his beer down. She's always been a dreamer. Remember her Etsy phase? Made those weird candles no one bought? She wants more than she's got, always has. Yeah, but this isn't candles, I snapped. This is our life. I spent 10 grand to fix her mess, and she's still digging. Maybe she's scared, he offered, softer now. Scared of being stuck. Your steady bin, job, family, roots. She's Sarah. Chaos in a sundress. I almost laughed, but it stuck in my throat. So I just forgive her? Pretend it's fine. Nah, he said, shaking his head. You decide what you can live with. But check this, he grabbed his laptop, pulling up vintage Jim Haven. That forum guy. You said Emerald Seeker 92. Yeah, why? Jake scrolled, then smirked. He's bragging. Posted yesterday, double-dipped on a sweet emerald ring. Got 12K from the wife, 10K from the husband. Look, there was the photo, my grandmother's ring, sold twice. My stomach lurched. Sarah hadn't just lost it, she'd been scammed too. That bastard played us both, I muttered. Jake clapped my shoulder. Question is, Does that change anything? Here's part 10 of the story, the final installment, with over 400 words as requested. Ben makes a choice, and the narrative ties up with resolution and reflection. Let's bring it home. Part 10, The Reckoning. Jake's laptop screen glowed with Emerald Seeker 92's smug post, the words searing into me. Double-dipped on a sweet emerald ring. $22,000, Sarah's 12 and my 10, stolen by a faceless con man, all for the ring now sitting in my palm. I'd fought to reclaim it, but the victory tasted like ash. Sarah had been duped too, her desperation exploited. Did that make her less guilty, or just more human? I stayed at Jake's that night, the guest room's silence amplifying my thoughts. By morning, I knew I couldn't run forever. I drove home, the ring a quiet passenger. Sarah was in the kitchen when I walked in, hunched over coffee, her eyes red-rimmed. She stood, tentative, like I might bolt again. "You're back," she said, barely a whisper. "Yeah," I replied, setting the ring on the counter. "Found out something. The buyer? He scammed us both. Took your 12 grand, then mine. Bragged about it online." Her hand flew to her mouth, fresh tears welling. "Oh God, Ben, I didn't know. I thought." "I know." I cut in, gentler than I'd planned. "You were trying to fix it, but you didn't trust me to help." She nodded, sinking into a chair. "I messed up so bad. I wanted to be enough, successful, glamorous, worthy of you. Instead, I ruined us." I sat across from her, the ring between us like a truce flag. "You didn't ruin us. You broke something, yeah? But ruining takes two. I've been checked out. Work, the past. I didn't see you drowning." Her lip trembled. "Can we fix it?" I didn't answer right away. The debt loomed, 12 grand on her credit line, our savings gutted. But the boutique money was still with Tara, recoverable if we fought for it. The ring was back, a symbol I'd clung to, maybe too hard. "We can try," I said finally. "No more secrets. We sell this crap," I waved at the luxury pile, "pay off the debt. You get a job, I cut hours at the firm. We rebuild, together." She reached for my hand, and this time I let her. "Together," she echoed. Later, we boxed the handbag, the shoes, the smartwatch, listing them online for half their worth. The ring went back in its velvet box, not as a shrine, but a reminder of my grandmother's resilience and ours. It wouldn't be easy. Trust rebuilt slower than savings. But as Sarah taped the box shut, I saw the woman I'd married, flawed and fighting. Maybe that was enough.